of the internet brings us back together yet once again, people. It is EC Radio. How are you? Hope you're enjoying your wacky Wednesday, the hump day hoedown, if you will. Before we get into anything, much love to my sponsors, EJA Moving Services, the professional movers. When it's time to move and relocate, hit them up at ejamoving.com or 315-335-0516. They make your move painless and stress-free. Have them come move you wherever you need to go. If you want to move to like Camden, if you want to move to California, if you want to move to freaking Japan, EJA Moving Services will move you to Japan. They're also the home of the free boxes too. So not only do they give you free boxes, but they pack them up for you, they unpack them for you, and they're just reputable people. So check them out today when you're ready to move and relocate. Also, much love to my attorney Dave Longaretta. If you need legal advice, give him a call today at 315-735-6162. Shout out to my peeps over at Utica Coffee. That's what I'm drinking today. Wake the hell up. I'm drinking the Utica Buzz, and I'll tell you, I have had like 3 sips today, and I do have a buzz. WakeTheHellUp.com. You can find them online. Also, much love to Saranac, another great company that keeps us hydrated here around the D each and every week. Shout out to Fred, Matt, and the crew from Saranac Brewery. Saranac.com. You can check them out for all their great merchandise and all the great soft drinks, and of course their alcoholic beverage. I'm a big fan of those green tea seltzers, so if you guys are into the seltzer thing and want to kind of move away from the beer thing, check them out at Saranac.com. Joining me today, my man Mel's is in the house with me today. Malcolm, how are you, man? It's great to see you.
My guy Z, what's going on?
Put your head. You put the microphone. There you go.
What's going on, man? I'm happy to be here.
It's good to see you, man.
It's been a while. This is our first one this year, I believe.
Yeah, man. Yeah, you usually come on like once a year. And you know, today I was promoting that you were coming on today, and we did our little bass freestyle collaboration back in September. Do you believe that was September?
Wow, that was almost a year ago.
Can you believe that?
Wow.
Time flies.
We worked hard on that, too.
We did. We got to do another one.
Yeah, we got another one coming, for sure.
Have you been writing?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah?
Yeah. I've even gone into, like, writing things outside of music.
Really?
Yeah, so I've been dibbling and dabbling with, like, a book.
Really? You should, too.
Yeah, I've been dibbling and dabbling with like a YouTube series and then also like a short film.
And so, what's the principle? What's the subject of these short films?
Well, the short film is actually based on that one. I don't want to give away yet, but I'm working with my guy Greg. He's from downstate, and he's upcoming in the filmmaking business. But that one's on ice. You'll hear about that one soon. But as far as the YouTube series, I honestly just want to make something that represents my experience in Utica. So I haven't really put a title on it yet, but that's pretty much what I want it to feel like a more direct representation of like the culture here in upstate New York. Because I think it gets misconstrued a lot.
Yeah, for sure.
You know? So, yeah. And then as far as the book, it's actually a children's book.
Really?
Yeah, it's like more on the inspirational side. It's about a kid that deals with like bullying in school and goes kind of from like a Joe Schmo to like the guy, if you would. So it's like a uplifting book for kids.
Do you have a title for it?
Yeah, I do, but
you're not going to give it away?
Nah.
Not yet?
Not yet.
Well, that's the one thing I've always respected about you, man. You've always had your hand in so many different things. You've done the acting thing, the hip-hop thing, music thing, producing, clothing line. I mean, you do have your hands in a lot of different things.
Yeah, I mean, you know, it's weird because for me, it's just me fucking with stuff that I like.
Yeah.
You know?
Right.
I've been a fan of all these things for my whole life, and I just got to a point where it's like I want to try to make it myself. You know? So it's been a journey, but I appreciate it.
Now, you grew up in Utica. Did you ever move away?
Yeah.
You did?
Yeah, I've moved away a couple times. I've lived in St. Louis. I've lived New York City, downstate area, Alabama, Florida. And then there's places that I've spent time in, like Ohio, North Carolina. But yeah. Especially in the last 10 years, I would say.
Don't you feel like you can't really grow if you stay in the city that you grew up in? Can you agree to that?
Yeah, because once again, just to that direct representation thing I was talking about, I feel like for me and for the goals I'm trying to go after, artistically, staying here isn't a direct representation of like the world and my consumers and people that are going to take this stuff in. You know, as a creative, you hope to reach further than just your community. So that's part of why I like to travel and like stay in other places for a little while, get a feel for it, because it's like, all right, well, what's going on in this part of America or this part of the world? Because that's what I want to do next. I have a friend that's like traveling the world right now. I just talked to him this morning. He's in Germany right now. He's from here. And yeah, and he says the same thing. Like, we talk about like the culture shocks over there and stuff like that. And I just feel like creatively it helps you.
Yeah.
You know?
And that's pretty much where you based a lot of your music on. The inspiration that you get some of your music from is like your experiences and the things you've gone through.
Yeah, absolutely. Because I find that that's like the stuff that comes the most natural to me. Like, you know, one thing I learned from listening to other artists and collabing with other artists is like, you kind of find out what your lane is. And, you know, I feel like for me, what comes natural to me is just talking about my experiences, maybe from like an informative perspective. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's important to share your experiences with the world, I think, and especially, like you said, in upstate New York, make this place shine, because it does get a little misconstrued around here. The weather sucks, the people are miserable, stuff like that, but there's such great people that come out of this area, and some very creative people coming out of this area.
I feel like a certain type of characteristic comes from this place, and it's like, it's just a hidden gem in a way, you know, that certain mentality where it's like, no matter what's going on, you're going to get through it. You're going to do what you got to do. Like, I feel like we breed those type of people, and that type of energy is the energy that I feel like the world needs more of, you know?
Yeah.
People that no matter what's going on, let's stay righteous, let's stay focused, let's stay whatever, you know? And I think Utica produces that, and, you know, by the ton.
Yeah, no doubt. What about your clothing line? You still doing the influencer? You still got this shirt out there?
Yep. Yes, I do.
Can you put the mic a little closer to you?
I'm sorry.
No, it's all good. There you go.
Yeah, no, it's going good. I'm looking to release the website pretty soon. That's what we're building up now, the website. And yeah, so I've been doing that. We've been spreading more into the Syracuse area as far as like local places that are picking up on it. You know, like, so other cities upstate are starting to pick up on it, so that's cool. I get out of state and out of country support too, but like getting this area around here hip to what I'm doing is like the most important to me.
Right.
So it's like to see it start to bleed over into Syracuse and parts of like downstate is pretty cool.
Right on, man. And not only are just inside, but you got pretty popular cousins out there that are supporting your T-shirts and your active wear and whatnot.
Shout out to Jay and Dev. So like, and that's kind of the thing. You know, it's crazy because coming up in life, it's like when I met certain people, I tried to maintain a certain, like, one thing I noticed about myself, like when there was a situation where there was a celebrity around or whatever the case may have you, I feel like I always approached it different. I always approached it as like a working relationship, because I knew that down the road I would be in a position where we may be able to work together. Like, I may not have to always look at you as like somebody I admire. So let me put myself in position to do so. So like a lot of people that I've met throughout the years, that's how I get their support now, because you know, outside of them, it's just like, you know, we've had a ton of people support, like publicly and behind closed doors. And it's just like, I feel like the way I can make those things come together is just by, one, support and like supporting what they do, supporting their endeavors, because that's important, you know. Like, when networking, I feel like a lot of the times I get approached with like one-way opportunity or one-way conversations, and it's like, to anybody out there that's trying to network and market and do whatever you do, try to bring something to the table too. Like, you know, if you're trying to get with somebody that you feel like they might be more lit than you, or they can take your thing to the next level, try to think of something that you could bring to them too, you know?
Right.
So you don't just sound like everyone else asking for a favor.
And I think that's what's wrong with the world today, is everybody's too worried about themselves so much that they don't think about like how they can, you know, help others.
No, absolutely.
And I think people need to start helping others a little bit more, and that's why we're so divided in this world right now, and it's because everybody's so self-centered.
I mean, honestly, it frustrates me. Like, I would say today, right now, at this very moment, what frustrates me about the world is that factor. because it's just too much of a dog eat dog mentality for like every single thing. And it's
Right.
just like, I mean, it's the American way, don't get me wrong, to be competitive, to strive to be your best, and to make it, do what you do.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like it's just gotten to a treacherous level, you know, and it's just like, I don't want to be a part of that.
It brings an evil spirit,
Yeah,
and it just shows the ugly side of humans.
yeah.
It's unfortunate, but hopefully maybe we can influence, such as yourself is doing it. And I feel like you're a huge influencer, not only just in this town, but in the world, really.
Thank you.
You know, and just helping people do their things. And I mean, you've been on this show a bunch, and you've been on other shows on the D before, and we've collaborated on a couple things. And, you know, and I know the way you work and the way you do things, and keep shining that light, man. Sometimes you might feel like, you know, you're not going anywhere, so you get that dead end, and you feel like, damn, am I really doing it? But you are an influence to many people.
you.
And
Appreciate
you know, we get into those ruts, especially the current state of affairs.
Yeah, yeah.
And
It's been tough.
It's been super tough. But, you know, if you could just keep pushing through, like you said, and shining light and spreading love and, you know, helping others, it's important to be an empath, I think.
I mean, I agree with that wholeheartedly. And even from the sense of like what the goal was. Because what I noticed that got lost in translation throughout my journey on this is like my goal that I had set for me. Why did I want to put out clothes? Why did I want to put out music? And it's just like when you tell me stuff like that, that lets me know that I'm accomplishing my goal. Because at the end of the day, I didn't pick up a pen and say, I'm going to be the richest person ever from writing raps. I said, I want to write some shit so cohesive and potent that it can leave a positive impact.
Yeah.
So when you tell me that I am doing that, you know, because that's one thing you battle on this journey. It's like, are you succeeding? Are you, because everybody has their, especially with rap, it's like everyone attaches money, cars, fame to success when it comes to hip hop music. And it's just like, there's so much more to it, you know?
And there is.
And furthermore, those aren't my goals. So of course, that's not going to be something I'm exuding because that's not what I'm going for anyway. You know, like you said, I'm going for the influence. So, because when I think about hip hop artists, that's what I think about. Nas, Tupac, Jay-Z, whoever. Like, there was an influence. Like, yeah, the money, the lifestyle too, but at the end of the day, it was about what they were saying on them songs. You know?
Right.
So.
And in the beginning, too, they were telling a story and giving you a sense of realism of what's going on in their world and in their surroundings. And then once they got popular and big and stuff like that,
Right.
it started to turn into like a flashy, you know, gold chain wearing and, you know, showing the money and the fame and whatnot. But prior to all that, it was telling their journey.
You know, it's funny. It's almost like people forget about that part of like these people's journey. Like they just think that they just started off on the top or just started off whatever that they are now. And it's just like, no, you know, this thing is a grind. It's a marathon. Like Nipsey Hussle said, you know, it's a marathon. The marathon continues. So it's an everyday job.
Yeah. It's very, very rare that somebody starts off on the top. Like, I can't think of any.
And if that is the case, it's probably not good.
Right.
It's probably not a good situation
Yeah.
behind closed doors. So it's just like,
Sure luck.
right. So once I feel like that would be my advice to any artist on the come up. It's like, define what success is to you. Define what your version of success is and go for that. And, you know, because really the journey doesn't get hard. Yeah, it's tough, like feeling like you're unheard or whatever, but the journey doesn't start getting tough until people notice you have potential and then they start putting their expectations on you. Like, oh, you still not doing this yet? You still, and it's just like, that's when the mind game starts. So as an artist on the come up, if you could just stay focused on what you want, you'll be good.
And not being influenced by the negativity.
Exactly. Be an influencer,
Yeah.
you know?
Hence the T-shirt. Where can people
No
find
pun
those
intended.
T-shirts?
Actually, right now I'm doing everything directly through me,
Okay.
direct to consumer. So,
You sell them out of the trunk of your car?
oh, absolutely. Mail
Old
them
school,
out.
baby.
Yeah, absolutely. Mail them out, whatever you guys need. I'm on Instagram, most influential 315, and yeah, DM me, whatever. We'll get you right.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Get it right. Now, you have an event going on tonight. Is that correct? Is that tonight?
Yes, tonight is Nomadic Voices, which is a new platform that my guy Tabo started. He's a student at UC, and he basically started a thing where it's going to be like open mic. And it's free, and we're going to use pretty much the local parks around the area to set up. So it's like we want that organic grassroots feel where it's like people drive by, oh, what's that going on? Let's go over there, you know? And then as far as the artist, it's like it's a place for you to get your shit off. So it's like, because that's the thing in the city. I feel like there's always like a conversation of who's going to blow up first or who's dope and like who's not. So it's like, let's put it to the test, because at the end of the day, if we take ourselves serious as artists, we should be able to get on the stage and entertain people, you know? So, and it's something to do.
It sounds like it's a good networking event as well.
Absolutely.
You know, instead of a competitive thing, make it more of a networking thing where one hand washes the other. And
absolutely.
Who knows? Maybe you can get some collaborations out of that.
Oh, no, absolutely. And I feel like it's just a practice stage, you know? It's like, come up here and sharpen your sword.
Mm-hmm. I like that. So you're combining music with arts. Is there anything else that you're combining that with?
Spoken word, poetry.
Okay.
There would be like little food vendors and stuff. Eventually, we have one today, but it's like small scale. But eventually, yeah, there will be like that element to it. But no, yeah, it's like a super dope new platform for creatives to link up once a week and network, sharpen their sword, or do whatever they want to do. You know, it's just another creative outlet. I feel like we don't have enough of those around here. So shout out to my guy Tabo. He's the creator and founder. I partnered up with him. And yeah, the third event is tonight, Handshake City, 6 o'clock.
Cool. What other parks have you utilized?
The park next to Planned Parenthood, I forget the name of it.
Yeah.
And the park over there on Steuben and South.
Have you had good turnouts?
The last one was pretty cool. The first one was like small, intimate, but the last one was pretty cool. I'm expecting this one to be like a bigger crowd. Uh-huh. So we'll see.
And you're practicing social distancing and all that?
Oh, no, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
There's a 50-person limit.
Okay.
So, yeah.
And so how do they want to perform? They just sign up on a list? Or?
Yeah, so you can either hit me up, hit Tabo up, or we have a page on Facebook, Nomadic Voices, and you can send any type of inquiries right to the inbox in there. And, you know.
I think this is a great idea.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if you're familiar with like Rolling Loud and stuff like that.
No, what's that?
So right now in hip hop, there's like this new thing with festivals. You get all of the artists that are like the most streamed artists, top 50 streamed artists in hip hop, and you throw one concert for all of them. So all of their fans are there to see everybody.
Like
so
on a Zoom or something like that?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So now it's exposure for every artist that's there. It's like everybody may have came to see these people, but, you know, you're performing, so this is exposure. Vice versa. So it's like that's the level we want to take it to, and then from there take it city to city, state to state.
Will you be live streaming tonight's event?
Yeah, more than likely.
So like off your Facebook? Or,
yeah. Either Facebook or Instagram.
Okay. And now the Rolling Loud you said?
Rolling Loud, yeah.
Rolling Loud, how do they do? Is that a pay-per-view type of service, or is that a free streaming platform?
No, so Rolling Loud is actually like a concert. It's like basically the same thing, a festival. The top 50 artists are all there, and like it's an open field, and it's just like a vibe. Mm-hmm. You know, it's performances from like 12 in the afternoon to like 11 at night, all different genres of hip hop, and yeah. So it's like that's what we're kind of trying to go for, like a real grassroots. Just it's outside, come pull up, and you know, there's an emphasis on like positivity. You know, so like the music that you're gonna be hearing is going to be more towards like the conscious side, a more vibrant level of music. So, yeah.
Not talking about like guns and drugs and all that stuff. You're trying to get it more towards an influential side.
And if that is going to be the case, it has to just be from a certain perspective. Because at the end of the day, we're not trying to perpetrate. We're not trying to regurgitate any negative energy. It's supposed to be uplifting. So I do understand that is some people's story.
Right.
You know, so as long as you get up here and you tell your story in an authentic way, get your thing off, you know? Mm-hmm. Get it off. Everybody has a story.
Is this a pre-register thing?
Yes, so it is pre-register. Uh-huh. So there is a link on the Facebook, Nomadic Voices on Facebook, and there's a link, you click it, you reserve your ticket, and you're set to go.
Right on.
So it's like that free event. Yeah.
During this whole lockdown, I've noticed a lot of these promoters in the music industry have come up with some real creative ways to get their shows out, their concerts out. We could drive-in concerts. There's one this weekend in Auburn that we have, Pigeons playing ping pong. Shout out to my peeps over at Creative Concerts. Also, I just seen a thing that they're doing in Europe where everybody gets a platform. Did you see that?
No, I didn't.
So everybody's getting like a 4x8 platform, you know, kind of like a drum riser. And they put rails around it, and they set up 400 or 500 different platforms, and they put them in rows, which is a pretty unique way to do it. I could see that getting quite costly because, I mean, decking costs, it gets pretty expensive after a while. But there has been some really unique ways of doing it, and I feel this is in that realm as well.
So it's crazy you say that because I've been thoroughly impressed with the way like the industry and the players in it have been able to innovate during this time and still find a way to push their product and stuff like that. You got some people like doing the Instagram live thing. You got the Instagram versus battle where like these huge artists are playing their best 20 songs against each other. So it's like, no, it's definitely pretty cool. As far as this event, it's weird because I feel like I more so manifested the situation. I had been talking pretty much all summer to everybody around me like, yo, I want to just create a situation where we can link up with like other creatives weekly or monthly and just have a vibe. Like just let it be a vibe, let it be whatever it is. And yeah, just so happened to meet Tabo. He had the plan, and so we linked up, and yeah.
This is something I'd like to see you do for a while, even after COVID's over with.
Oh, absolutely. For me, it's long term. Like we had to talk the other day, because my thing is I love building stuff from scratch.
Yeah.
I love. See, the real genius to me isn't the creativity, it isn't the talent, it's the foresight. If you could see something a little bit earlier than everybody else can, like you'll win every time. And it, for me, it's just like, especially upstate New York, it's like, man, something like this, because we do have stuff like this, but it's more New York City driven. It's more downstate. Like when I go to these type of things, I got to go all the way to New York City. And it's like, and a lot of other people from up here do too. So to have something up here to be proud of and to like, obviously in the future, I want to be able to get people like Drake and people like, you know, because that is my plan. Like eventually down the road, I want to be able to throw an event like at least once a year when I can get some of the biggest artists in the world to come perform right in Utica.
That would be awesome.
Yeah, so like this is kind of the precursor to that, you know, so because that's the plan for sure.
Do you see yourself doing this in the wintertime?
Yeah, absolutely.
Taking it indoors?
Yeah, absolutely. I've been wanting to do something with the Odd forever, with the Stanley forever, so this could be a perfect opportunity for that collaboration, you know?
Yeah.
So the Uptown, if they're open.
Yeah, there's some things like right now, it's just like all these venues are hurting, obviously, because they got shut down for the last 5 months. So, you know, something different, unique, and creative to the table would probably maybe help them boost up their capacity or whatnot. Or
I believe so too. I just feel like something that is like hip hop driven or hip hop acceptant around here, something official, like an official platform or something like that, I feel like it'll honestly do really well, you know, especially on the venue side, the performing side. So once the world gets back to a normal state, you know, I want to start really putting a real effort towards that, you know, because there's a lot of talented artists here. There's a lot of artists here that are like tied in with people that are like in the industry. Like, so there's just certain things that could happen. It's just like, we got to get the platform for it to happen on.
Exactly. Was it 47 years ago yesterday hip hop was born?
Yeah.
You see that?
Hip hop is only 47 years old.
You believe that?
That's wild.
Isn't that wild?
That's why. And I mean, it makes a lot of sense.
I feel like it's been part of, well, it's been part of our culture our whole lives.
Yeah, for sure.
You know?
No, and because it's so young, it would make sense why it's so like up and down and why, you know, there aren't any distinct rules to certain things yet. Like in the 90s, they were worrying about like CD sales, and then it jumped to digital. Now it's streaming. It's like, and now they can't figure out how to count streams, so they just like making numbers up and shit. So it's like they're literally still figuring hip hop out. You know, you got some kids, they might like this style of hip hop, but they might think this style is like outdated. So there's still that whole thing. So it's beautiful to see it grow and become a thing, like a part of American culture, the world the world's culture.
That's the one thing I didn't like about hip hop is that the dated thing that you bring up. Like, because some of the old school stuff is what I love. I love the 90s era of hip hop is my favorite era of hip hop. I think that's where it really started to cultivate itself.
Absolutely.
But, sorry, I was getting a call. I like the new feature you got on the phone, not to jump off subject, but it says potential spam.
Oh, yeah.
I love that feature.
That's
Whoever came up,
hilarious.
thank you so much for coming up with that. Anyhow, but that's the one thing because you always had it, like, to me, hip hop has always tried to stay on top of the trends. But if you go back into the history of it, that's where I think you could really grow and learn. I think it's important to know your history. Like, if you're an up and coming rapper, you should know where it came from and know how it started, and not just think that Drake was one of the originators.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right. No, absolutely. And I feel like that affects the quality of the music.
Right.
Because there's a lot of artists who they're good hustlers. They're not really rappers or artists. They know how to market themselves. They know how to talk to people.
They look good type thing.
Yeah. So it's literally a lick. What I'm seeing now is like hip hop is turning into a lick for a bigger thing. Like, all right, let me use this to really do this over here, be a reality star or reality TV, whatever you may have you. So the intentions with music are just a lot different. And I feel like as an artist that's like really true to like the art, it's just like, man, but all you can do is try to stay true to it and hope people take to it.
I see what you're saying too, because a lot of these hip hop stars do have other avenues of revenue streams,
Which is fine, but
right.
it's like,
I mean, you're doing it yourself. You're taking on multi projects, and it's important to keep it. It keeps you more of a Renaissance man, if you will.
right. And I mean, honestly, it's the standard now. Like, I don't think it's more so about being a good artist and putting out consistent music. It's about putting out consistent music and making consistent moves.
Yeah.
That's what being the hottest rapper is in 2020, or the biggest rapper. It's really being consistent musically and making moves consistently. If you can do that.
What's your favorite era of hip hop?
I like everything from the 90s to 2010. I feel like 2010 till now, for me, it was just like Drake, Kendrick, and J. Cole that were kind of doing,
I agree.
Stuff the most that I would take to. But yeah, before that, definitely like the 90s stuff.
Yeah. Now, do you know the history? I mean, you're on top of all that. I know you do.
Yeah. No, absolutely.
Yeah.
I spend a lot of my time studying hip hop culture, and I'm blessed to like. There's certain people in my family who have had like certain dealings with like certain artists or certain parts of the industry. So whenever I can run into them, I try to get as much knowledge and information as I can. And like I'm a fanatic about like just hip hop culture in general, like and that's actually a cheat code. Like, even to bring it to a 2020 perspective, it's like, all right, so a new artist coming out, they drop their song and they're trying to get Drake's attention. So it's like, all right, if I can get Drake's attention, I can make it to where I'm trying to go. Let's say that's their goal. So they drop the song and they tag Drake 300 times and spam his likes, spam his comments. You see, the cheat code to that would be, if you do your research, find out who Drake's driver is. Find out who his ex-girlfriend is. Find out what store he goes to all the time. Like, by finding little nuanced shit like that and connecting with those people, that's how you get to the bigger goal. So that's kind of how I like to treat it. It's like, you got to do your research, because you might not run right into Jay-Z. You might have to run into Tata or Emery or Memphis Bleak or, stuff like that. And you got to be able to see these people and recognize them. So it's just like, it's so much deeper than just like going viral and shit. Like,
Right.
Like there's literally a science to it. So it's like, yeah.
A lot of times they're not really on those social media tags anyways.
Exactly.
It's usually they have a company doing it for them.
Exactly. You're not going to get to these people through social media.
No.
So if that is your approach, if you are somebody you don't really have no resources or connects, but you have social media, these people you're trying to get to, do a little bit more research. Find out the regular people around them and maybe try to build something with those people. I've actually, the most recent connection I can think of that I made, there's this podcast. It's pretty much the #1 podcast in hip hop. It's called Drink Champs. The rapper Nori, it's his podcast. Nori from the 90s or whatever. And yeah, I was able to connect with them. They were able to get some product from me and stuff like that, from me connecting through someone else that was around them. And then the word got passed along, and I was able to make that connection. And, you know, that was something that I wanted to do for a while, but I was trying to reach directly to Nori. And it was just like I was doing it wrong. So I had to put some time in research-wise and, okay, this person, like, be in the back of the room sometime when they shoot the podcast. Let me go follow him, and, you know?
Uh-huh.
So stuff like that, little research like that. It's really not about knowing everything about the game. It's about knowing how to use the information to win. You know? That's what it's really about.
Solid advice.
Yes, sir.
Solid advice. Is there anything from previous hip-hop eras that you'd like to see make a comeback?
Song content. The types of songs. You know, Lauryn Hill is like one of my favorite. Tupac, they're like some of my favorite artists as far as substance goes, like what they were talking about.
Realism.
Yeah, like it's just like it's the same stuff over and over. Some people can make it sound better, some people can flow it better, you know, but at the end of the day it's just like the same types of songs. And I would like to see like a more broad selection of song matter if I could pick anything.
Yeah.
Because everything else is pretty much like the melodies, the production, the flows, it's tight. Like I like it. It sounds good, but I don't want to say that. Yeah, I won't say that. But yeah, that's what I think.
And some of it's overproduced and watered down.
Oh yeah, for sure. For sure.
A lot of the music today
sure.
feels like it's rushed.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean? Like and they're putting it out there quick just to put it out there, and they're not really thinking about what they're doing. Or...
No, absolutely. I mean, I hear a lot of these albums and songs today, and it's just like, oh yeah, like he literally just didn't give a shit. Like he knows. I mean, for instance, somebody like Drake, somebody that's huge like that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you're in cruise control now.
Right.
You don't got to really try no more.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And I feel like with the attention span of the youth today, just they don't really link on to like one particular artist now. There's just so many different artists out there that they'll listen to it for like a week and then it becomes old.
Yeah.
And then they move on to another one. It's like, back in the day, you would listen to these artists for weeks on end and months and years. And I'm still listening to Biggie and all the old school hip hop guys. And I still listen to Run DMC and,
Yeah, no, like a Biggie album had tons of shelf life.
Right.
When he came out and, that was like a year-round thing until he dropped his next album. Like, so, and that was cool too, because even from the sense of like buying an album and reading the lyrics on the back of it, it was just like a whole different experience receiving music before it was appreciated.
Right.
People saw the genius, because people see the genius in like being rich and like the dollar and stuff like that, but they don't see the genius in like being creative or having foresight or working hard or staying focused. Like, that's the genius. Like, yeah, where they end up, that's cool, but you got to understand what that took. Like, that's when I look at people that are successful, I don't look at what they have and admire that. It's like, to come from where you came from, where we know you came from, and to get there, that's the amazing part to me.
Right.
So it's just like, that's where I find the magic.
They don't know where the struggle is.
Yeah.
They just see the silver lining.
Exactly.
They just see the glitz and glamour.
And little do they know, if you get that, it doesn't feel as good if you didn't go through the struggle.
Yeah.
So, like, because how many times have we seen that where, like, people are super successful and they're still complaining and shit like that?
Right.
Super rich, you got everything, but, still losing your mind.
I'm glad you bring that up, too, because we don't know the struggles that these artists go through. And, like, mental health's a big thing, too, right now, especially in the current state of affairs. Even before COVID and all that, I mean, mental health was such a big thing. And, man, these guys, they could have it all. And take Robin Williams, for example. Williams, I mean, he was one of the funniest men on earth. He was absolutely hysterical, but we didn't know what he was struggling with, bipolarism and drug abuse and everything that he was going through. And then you think he's got the world by the balls, but deep down inside, man, he was struggling. He was struggling so much that he took his own life. You just don't know what that person's going through, especially when they're under a microscope. Like a lot of these celebrities are.
No, absolutely. I give him credit. And see, even like with Robin Williams, like people underestimate the responsibility of like being a comedian.
Right.
Like imagine feeling like shit but still having to go on stage and like make people laugh. Like,
all the
and
time.
not just for one night, but like what if, like you said, you are bipolar or you are, chemically imbalanced. And it's just like you got to somehow tuck that and provide joy when you don't even feel joy.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, rest in peace to Robin Williams. Man.
Yeah, man. Couldn't imagine. Like, growing up, I always wanted to be the rock star and, you know, have this and that. But now, as you get older, as I get older, I should say, it's like, man, I would not want that at all. Like, you can't walk outside your door.
Absolutely.
Or look at, like, imagine what Michael Jackson went through his whole life. I mean, he was a child star. Like, he was the original boy band, if you will. Like, those guys were being chased by crazy fans all the time, and then just under a microscope, every little step that guy did, it was on the tabloids or it was on some sort of news service. I could not imagine just being followed around like that all the time. And I don't know, it's not for me. But you can have all the money in the world and all the fame, but you just don't know the struggles.
Yeah, no, it's a different set of problems for sure. And that's a realistic question. I feel like as somebody that's trying to get to that level that you have to ask yourself.
Right.
Like,
can you handle it?
Yeah, and then, you know, especially in this time where, because see, celebrity culture changed. We used to look up to celebrities. They're targets now. Like, if somebody sees a celebrity, it might not be 100% admiration anymore. Or, oh my God, let me get your autograph. You know, in hip-hop culture, we have celebrities like, you know, people that are prominent figures, not like D-listers, like A-B-listers that are being murdered, you know, and the cases aren't even being solved and stuff like that. So it's just like, on top of that, the artists that are promoting positivity and unity and stuff like that, like it's not even the murder guys that are getting, it's the prominent people.
Yeah.
So it's just like, you know, it is something to think about.
It's a cultural shift for sure.
Yeah, it's weird. Like celebrities, public figures, like they're in a weird space right now where they're like targets.
Do you think social media has a lot to do with that?
Yeah. I think social media has something to do with it, but I also feel like how those people carry themselves have something to do with it. Because especially in a pandemic, like, not to name any names, but I know like one of the bigger artists in the game right now, we've been in a pandemic all year. And, like, this guy's just posting money stacks on Instagram and, like, doing all of this and that. And it's just like, man, like, that would be the reason right there, because there is someone out there who has nothing, who's going through it, and it's just like, it could just turn into a bad situation. People are starving. So for you to be one of the more influential people in the world right now and everybody's looking to you, don't show off your money. Like,
right.
Unless you're going to give it away. You know, you're going to give some of it away. If not, we know you rich, you know. So it's shit like that it drives the people crazy.
Yeah.
And, you know.
I'd rather see the natural person come out in those big artists. You know, the natural guy, like a woman who's not all made up and telling us her day-to-day struggles, you know, instead of like, oh, look how much money I got. Look at the car that I'm driving. I'd rather them go live on their Facebook or whatever and talk about the shit that they went through instead of the stuff that they're celebrating now.
No, absolutely. And it's weird because the artists who have done that, their fan bases are growing.
Yeah, exactly.
See, one thing I'm noticing is like the truth speakers are kind of flourishing in this whole thing that's going on. While that kind of energy is kind of simmering down and that whole thing is just getting a little bit quieter. So, yeah, it's interesting. Like the people that have been doing that, I'm noticing that their followings, their streaming numbers, all of that stuff is starting to increase because that's what people are looking for, you know? So,
have you seen any of the trends of the confession videos? Have you been seeing
Which
any
ones?
Of these? Well, there's been a bunch.
Yeah, right.
There has. There's been a bunch, and I'm starting to see this is becoming a trend, and that just goes to show you that they are human, and they are like on our level, if you will.
No, I mean,
I think more people should be doing confession videos and talk about the wrong you've done to people, and whatever you've done wrong in your life. It should come out in the open a little bit, and that just shows you that you're the same person as I am. Kind of, you put your pants on the same way I do. You know, we praise these people so much, and like you said too, a lot of them are targets, but a lot of them get celebrated. You know, and you just don't know. And confession videos, I'm thinking about doing one actually.
Really?
Yeah, why not?
I mean, I think it would be therapeutic.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
thank you.
I think it would be therapeutic for you.
I'm encouraging everybody to do one. Just go out and talk about, just set up your iPhones. We're all on these freaking things all day long. Everybody's obsessed with their iPhones. Set it up. We go live on our Facebook and go live on your Twitter or whatever and talk about the stuff that you've done wrong in your past. It humanizes you.
Interesting.
right?
No, I kind of like that.
Yeah. Because we've all done shit wrong. We're human.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we've all lied, cheated, steal, whatever. You know, we've all done it. Because we're human. That's you know, we're not perfect. None of us are perfect. I don't care who you think you are. You're not perfect.
Facts.
But I think it's important to like confess the wrong that you've done in your life.
So I like that.
Yeah. I'm encouraging everybody to do it. And I'm going to actually start doing one. I'm going to do one. Well, I'll just do one. Yeah,
It could be a whole series.
I went to Catholic school for a minute when I was a kid, and you'd have to go and talk to the priest, and he would be behind in a confessional, and he'd be in there, and he'd be like, "Go say 5 Hail Marys or whatever." What did that really do? You know. Right. And plus, you're a kid. You're 8, 9 years old, and like, all right, I'll go say my prayers, and now I'm free of my sins.
Right. Plus, you haven't lived yet, so. You haven't made your best mistakes yet.
Exactly.
Right. So
right.
like,
yeah, I didn't start making all my best mistakes until I started doing drugs. You know,
so what would that be like? High school, teenager? What are we talking?
Oh man, yeah, high school all the way up to all the way up till yesterday. You know?
Hey, rock star lifestyle.
Oh man, but you know we've all done wrong, and you know it would be a sense of balance, you know, to get all your wrongdoings out there in the open. It might take a weight off your shoulder too.
No, absolutely.
We hold up so much grudges and resentment on people and stuff, and it's good to get rid of that.
Yeah.
You know, why hold grudges? You know, why have all this resentment in your life? You only have one life.
Mm-hmm.
You know, make the best of it, and why go around living in negativity? And a lot of that resentment and grudges create that negativity.
Absolutely, 100%.
Yeah.
I definitely think it's like a you thing. Like if you ever feel you get to a point where you are at odds with a lot of different people, maybe it is something inner that you got to look inside and come to grips with yourself.
Right.
And from there grow, you know.
As I noticed, like in this area, and I'm just singling out Utica for right now, is there's a lot of grudges in this town.
Oh yeah.
God forbid you talk about this one in front of that one or whatever, you know, and that all just needs to end. I mean, we can never come together as a community if we let go of those grudges.
What do you think it is? Like,
fear. I think a lot of it has to do with fear. A lot of it has to do with the competitive nature, as you spoke about earlier. You know, God forbid you compete against my cousin or my brother, and I'm going to hate you for it. And then the hate. We need to erase the hate. And there's way too much of that going on in the world. And that's what's keeping us divided right now.
No, absolutely. I mean, like I always say, I feel like I tell this to like my friends and stuff. It's like all of that is true. And I feel like with that being said, the only thing that can really change it is us seeing the possibility of, because that's the thing. People are in competition so much because it's like, winning, succeeding is so rare here. So if you're in a position to succeed, it's so rare here that you are probably the only one for the next 20 years that's going to have a chance. And if we could somehow get people to realize, like, no, we can all have a chance. It's about, once again, what we talked about earlier, consistency, work ethic, drive, you know. And I feel like right now, small town, small city, especially upstate, because
small minds.
Yeah. Because a lot of upstate New York cities are dealing with the same thing. It's like there's a lot of dope things going on, and people are fans of it, but nobody wants to support because it's like, well, if I support you and you get on, what does that mean for me? And I want to work to get us in position where we can see somebody get on that is going to pass the torch and then see how powerful that is. And then maybe once we see that, it's like, holy shit, let's support each other. Like, this has been the secret thing the whole time. Supporting each other. If we can support someone and they can take off and they pass it back, we can just do this all day because there's enough talent, there's enough content, there's enough artists to do this shit for generations.
It really is.
Literally, like literally. You know, there's 95.5, there's Kiss FM. Like there's enough of you guys to where, like, there's Hot 97, The Breakfast Club, Joe Rogan, Joe Budden. Like, these guys are all doing numbers, okay? They're all syndicated, doing crazy numbers. And there's multiple of them. So it's just like, I see it the same way for the city, you know?
Yeah, you're right, too. If you just put the work in, you know, and if you're putting out quality stuff and you're putting the work in and you show that you have that work ethic, good things will come to you. You know, you could get on the radar of somebody else and be like, hey, you know, I like what you're doing here. come do my podcast. That's the other thing I tell a lot of these other podcasters. It's important to go on other podcasts.
Absolutely.
You know, and not look at it as a competitive nature type of thing.
Absolutely.
You only compete with yourself. That's the way I look at it. I compete with myself. I don't compete with 95.5 or Kiss FM. We're not a radio station, you know. But I compete with myself to try to do better every day and to try to put out quality content every day.
Listen, I couldn't agree with that more. Like, it's to the point where I'm so in competition with myself that I can do nothing but be a fan of other people because you're not even on my radar. It's just like I'm trying to better myself. So it's like I can easily recognize that this is dope. I like this. I support this. Or I want to spread this. Or I want to come and do a podcast. Or, you know, because it's like I'm a fan before anything. Like, I'll never be so great that I'm not a fan of somebody else, that I can't say somebody else can rap. I can't say somebody else clothing design is dope. I'll never be that great. So it's just like, for me, I'll always be a fan. And that's just what it is.
Hey, you're a fan before you started to do all this.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So, and I feel like that's what keeps you sharp as a creative, being a fan. Because, like, I'll listen to stuff and, like, artists will be like, yeah, I don't listen to nobody else's shit. I just say the shit off the top of my head. I don't even write it. And it reflects. It reflects that you haven't been listening to what's going on and you didn't think about none of those lyrics because I can hear it when I press play. You know? So it's just like, no, I'm 100% a fan of the culture.
What inspires you?
What inspires me is the impact that very intelligent people had on history. So the Malcolm X's of the world, the Barack Obamas of the world. And once again, I'm just talking from an intellectual point, not like their political thing,
right.
None of that. Just the ability to be a poised, educated black man that comes from the gutter. That's my inspiration. So it's just like anybody that represented that in history, I'm pretty much inspired by.
I've been listening to Michelle Obama's podcast. It's awesome.
Oh, yeah.
It's awesome. Have you been listening to it?
No, I got to check it out.
The one which she just had with Michelle Norris, the reporter, too. They're talking about, you know, COVID and everything. Check that out. And then the one she had with Barack was awesome.
Oh, wow.
Awesome.
I didn't even know they had
Even if you're a fan or if you're not a fan, you should listen to it and educate yourself and open up your mind. You know?
I like that.
Yeah, it's
Where is it available at?
Spotify, all over the place.
Okay.
I've been listening to it nightly. Well, she hasn't put out a new one this week, and I think she comes out with a new one every Wednesday. So it might be out today or tomorrow. I got to check it out. But yeah, her last two podcasts were phenomenal.
I'm really liking the podcast wave, man.
Me too, man.
Like, I like to get into these people's brains from a different angle, you know, from a more personal, to see what they really think, you know.
What podcast do you listen to?
Joe Budden, Drink Champs, Joe Rogan, and then it just gets blurry because
So
I
a
like
lot
so
of
many of them.
inspirational podcasts.
Yeah, inspirational / well, really informative.
Informative.
So like, yeah, like Joe Rogan. I love Joe Rogan because I just feel like he knows everything about everything.
He does too.
There's like nothing this guy doesn't know.
He's like the guru of all podcasting.
Which is weird to me because this guy is so busy. He's done so much. So it's like, how the hell do you have time to learn all this shit? Like,
Yeah.
this guy has 10 jobs. He's a family man.
Yeah.
He knows everything. And to me, that's just inspiring. It's just like, damn, like, that's like some supreme being shit.
And he's a comedian,
Right.
UFC commentator.
Yeah.
And he's just doing so much out there.
Yeah, like he's maximizing his potential.
And then he signed that deal with Spotify, which takes
The
place
biggest
next month.
podcast
It
deal ever. Right?
Ever. And
What
that
is
kind of opens up the floodgates for
no,
all these other
absolutely.
podcasts as well.
Oh no, absolutely. Because Joe Budden, they're signed to Spotify too. So, and they're up for renegotiation in a couple months. So,
Insane. It is.
100 million, I heard.
100 million, and that's a like licensing deal. He gets to keep his own content, and like it's a lot of stipulations that go along with it. But yeah, he struck it good, and then not only that, but he's moving from California to Houston. I think he's moving to Texas now.
Oh, wow.
And they're building him a brand new studio, or he might be building it. I'm not sure, but he's building a brand new studio, and it's going to be a whole new look, and he's going to be off YouTube, and everything's going to go video platform off the Spotify. So Spotify just leveled up big time too.
Wow. They just raised the bar.
Big time.
And that's the thing. I feel like artists are going to start, podcasters, they're going to start signing straight to the streaming sites.
Yeah. Yeah, and just be exclusive.
Yeah, absolutely. Because they're offering the most amount of money, one, and two, is just the most amount of exposure.
Right.
You know? But Joe Rogan, on the other, and that's what I'm saying, on the other end of all of those incentives, it's like
all I can think about is every time I go on my YouTube, Joe Rogan has new content out.
He does every day.
Every fucking day.
Yeah.
Like, it's nuts. It's like, how is this? And they're hours long.
And like he'll talk to some top-notch comedian or a musician, or then he talks to some
scientist,
physician or some doctor or whatever, and it's always quality stuff.
Every time.
Him and Dan Aykroyd. Did you hear that one back in December?
No.
And they started
Is that
talking
the
about
conspiracy guy?
No, Dan Aykroyd's the comedian.
Okay.
Actor. He was Ghostbusters and all that. They start talking about upstate New York and how there was, aliens touching down at Griffiths Air Force Base. And check it out. It was done back in December. And that was really informative. And you didn't really know all this stuff that really happened in our backyard back in the 40s and 50s.
So
Blew me away.
Shout out to Joe Rogan, the GOAT. So I seen recently someone from New York Mills said that they had some type of alien encounter or something recently. Did you hear about that?
I didn't, but I believe it.
Okay, let's get into it.
All right.
Let's get into it. All right. So what would make you believe that?
Well, you got to be kind of naive to think that we're the only being throughout this whole universe. I mean, we live, there's how many planets, but how many galaxies are there? And how many things are going on? We could be living in a galaxy that mirrors another galaxy that has human life somewhere else, or different alien forms and stuff.
Other dimensions.
I have had guests on this podcast before. Shout out to Peter Leonard. He wrote books on aliens and Griffiths Air Force Base and all the weird stuff that has gone on. And if you go back into my podcast back in March or maybe it was February, he was on talking about some of the strange stuff that goes on in Rome, New York. And he had mentioned that there's a 20-story building underneath Griffiths Air Force Base that houses aliens. And if you go to Rome, Walmart, after midnight, you could see people with some deformities and just like they look very odd. And there's just been some really out-of-this-world type of things going on.
Really?
Yeah.
What's his name?
Peter Leonard.
Yeah, I'm watching that one.
Yeah. It's you listen to it on Spotify. Actually, it was with. I'll send it to you after we're done.
Please
it was very, very. It opened my eye to a lot of different things, but I've kind of believed in it throughout. Again, you have to be a little naive to think we're the only beings in this universe.
Yeah, and that's my thing. Once again, these are things that I feel like I've been telling the people closest to me, like, yo, take a look at this. This isn't too far-fetched. So the other day, you know how you have like a security camera for your house or whatever. So the other day, some guy that I follow on like Twitter or Instagram or something, he posts his home surveillance video. It was like 3, 4 in the morning. And there's literally a fairy flying. Like, it came close enough to the camera for you to, 1, see it, and for you to, 2, tell that this isn't like Photoshop, this isn't like no funny trick trying to go viral. Like, it was literally regular security cam footage, and like a fairy came like right in front of the camera, flew up, and then came right down, and it was like, whoa. Like, it looked like
This is New York Mills?
No, that wasn't New York Mills.
Okay, this is off Twitter. You were
Yeah,
saying.
yeah.
Okay.
This is in America somewhere. I'm not sure where, but yeah, no, the New York Mills one. I seen that one like the day before I saw that, so it was weird, and it was just like, damn, like the video was pretty vivid. It was just like, wow, that's a clear shot. There's no way to talk around this one. Like, if the government were to try to explain that, yeah, I don't know.
Well, here's the fucked up thing about it, too. We're in the middle of a pandemic, and the Pentagon releases UFO footage, and none of us care. None of us even really cared about it. And this was back in, like, April, where they finally released some stuff that were flying around in space or whatever, and no one really paid attention to it.
You want to know why?
At all.
Because it's not good enough footage. It's not good enough footage.
You think so?
I'll send you the video of the fairy.
Okay.
If something like that were to surface, that would do the trick.
Okay.
100%. But that is, I don't know, it's grainy. It's like, we need something clear as day, like where you can see that this is not normal. And I feel like that's when the world will really react.
Don't you feel like this is the time that they're going to, like, spring it on us like
Absolutely.
this? Because all the shit that we've gone through in 2020, this would be the perfect time to drop the footage or to get invaded by aliens or something, you know?
I mean, I feel like that's what that was in April. Like a preview, kind of. Like, all right, let's test it out. Okay, they didn't really react how we wanted them to. Send them in.
Yeah.
Like, so
I think we're living among aliens. I think I
absolutely.
think the population has a bunch of aliens. I think Tiger Woods is an alien.
You know, and then when it comes to a lot of those politicians and celebrities and stuff, you know, there is that conspiracy that like these people are. It's crazy. I don't want to sound crazy
or something like that.
Yeah,
right?
I don't want to sound too crazy, but you know, I've been on that rabbit hole too on YouTube, and it's just like some stuff does catch my eye. I'm not gonna lie.
Some of it makes sense too.
Some of it makes a lot of sense, especially like certain deaths and stuff like that. Numbers match up in weird ways, and it's like, I don't know.
We don't know. That's the thing, is we don't know until they come down and we're confronted by them.
And I guess this is the time where that's supposed to happen. It's like we've been taught the lies so long that even then, like, will people really be receptive to the truth? You know?
Right, exactly.
Even if they see it right in their face.
You're right. Our history books most of them are a lie.
Because people don't want to accept that.
Right.
Damn, everything I know is a lie. Most of the shit I know is a lie.
Oh, that's
like,
what we're taught in school. Like, we were taught Christopher Columbus discovered America, where he didn't even make it past the Bahamas. And when he got to the Bahamas, all he did was rape and pillage the village. You know, he didn't even come to America. He didn't even step foot on American soil at all. But we celebrate him like he did. A lie.
A whole holiday, everything.
A whole holiday, all that stuff.
But we learned it at school, right?
Right, but it's got to be true because we learned it. It's part of our history. It's not. It's nothing but a lie. We could go down that rabbit hole too. Peter did bring up Peter Leonard that I'm talking about, the previous guest that I did have here on EC Radio. He did bring up, like, back in like the 40s, there was this plane. Well, they called it a plane crash, and it wiped out this house of people. And it killed them, and then there was all this wreckage of an unidentified flying object that killed it, hit the house, and destroyed this family and this family's home and whatnot.
Is this in Rome?
And this is in Rome, Wampsville, just outside of Rome. And I'll send you the podcast because I'm probably doing this story no justice whatsoever because it was so far back. And but yeah, and they covered it up. It was nothing but a government cover-up. Same thing with like Area 51, and like it's been nothing but government cover-ups because they don't want us to know the truth. Partly because you know, human nature is to be living in fear anyways.
Right. Everybody would lose their minds.
Right.
That would be like mass hysteria.
Right.
So I feel like that's probably another thing where they try to keep certain information under control because I don't think we're ready for that type of truth.
We're not ready.
I mean, the pandemic was on its way and people literally bought all the toilet tissue in the fucking world just because they were like, I'm scared. I don't know. Give me all the toilet tissue. Like,
yeah, that's what I think.
Right. So
let's go run out and buy all the toilet paper.
Right. So imagine if we find out aliens exist or this or that. It's like, Jesus.
Dwayne's saying the reality we live in, it's crazy. It's true, man. The reality that we live in, it's nuts, man. It's nuts. But I digress. Check out that podcast because that guy's very formative, and he actually wrote down and has a book on this of all the sightings that have ever been documented. And it's a whole book on it.
Like ever in the world?
Well, ever. And yeah, maybe the world. I'm not sure about the world or not. And, of course, there's all these conspiracies and stuff like that. But it's very important to, like, do research. And you know, and research from reputable sources. Not just, like, because it's on Facebook, it means it's true. Or if it's on YouTube, it's true. You know, ask the experts type of thing. And
no, absolutely. And even speaking to that, like, I could see it because Rome would be the place where something like that would go on.
There's some shady shit that goes on at the Air Force Base. Or the former Air Force Base.
And I thought it was interesting when Donald Trump came right to Utica and then went to Rome or whatever. Like, I thought that was very interesting.
What do you mean?
I just thought it was interesting. Of all places in the world, he came to Utica, New York.
Oh, but didn't he do, like, to support Tenney or something? Is that what it was? I wasn't here.
Right. It was something.
I'm glad
on
I wasn't
surface.
here for that.
Yeah. No, I was actually in Florida too, so it's like I heard about it and I was just like, what? And I don't know. I just thought that was peculiar. Like,
yeah, I think he was there to throw support towards Tenney. Maybe that's what they made it sound like, but maybe he was looking at what was going on. But
because he went to the base.
He came here and then he went to Rome.
He's so delusional that, like, don't you think if he knew about aliens, he'd be spurting it off, during his press conferences? I mean,
I feel like he's loading his guns for sure. I feel like he's ready. I feel like, because then that whole thing with the Epstein thing is just like.
oh yeah, did you watch that documentary?
Yes, I have. That thing is.
I had to go take like 5 showers after watching that thing. I felt grimy watching that.
I feel like a lot of people are shaking in their boots. Right
Oh
now.
yeah.
A lot.
And the Maxwell woman's going to be talking, unless they don't kill her first.
Right, and that's.
And if she comes up missing or dead or supposed suicide, there's some shady shit going on.
And the trial doesn't start till when? July of next year. So
Is that what it is?
Yeah, that's ample time for anything to happen. It's like it's a whole year away. So
We ain't part of that party, brother.
it's a different.
We're
It's
not.
a different party.
And that's why, like you said earlier, stay in your lane, do the things that make you happy. You can't control what you can't control, and no sense of like
Going crazy.
overthinking all that, and just you can only control what you can control, and just stay in your bubble and live life to the fullest and have fun and enjoy the life that you have.
No, absolutely. For me, all of that stuff is just a good talking point. Like, at the end of the day, it's good stuff to have dialogue about, to be aware of, but
Because we'll never get the truth out of any of this.
Oh,
And all this stuff
absolutely
that we
not.
just talked about for the last 20 minutes, we'll never get the truth out of it.
No.
Ever. Until you meet your maker. That's the only time you're ever going to get the truth out of it.
Yeah, and
When
if you feel that desperate for the answer, go with your intuition. Like, your mind wouldn't be telling you to think something for no reason at all. If you just for some reason woke up like, yo, I believe there's fucking aliens living amongst us. There's something that told you that. So, and if you ever find yourself in a position where you can't figure out the answer to something, your intuition already told you the answer.
Indeed.
So.
We always get in these conversations.
Oh, every time. Oh, no, I love it. I love it.
Me too, man. It's
No, I love
important
it.
to open up and have these conversations too.
Absolutely.
It really is. And again, we're so divided in this world, and there's so much hate. And just spread love and enjoy the ones that you got, and stay in your bubble, stay in your lane, and do the things that make you happy. No sense of getting fed negativity from social media, and
Which is so much harder to consume and to just do every day.
Yeah.
It's so much easier to spread love. Like,
it is.
people feel like it takes more effort, but it really doesn't.
We're born with love. You're taught hate. And social media fuels that.
Absolutely. Like, if I ever am in a situation where I'm feeling negative or something about something, it's just like, it just takes way more out of me to feel that way than to feel good about something.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we like to move with love.
Before we get out of here, how do you want to be remembered?
Wow. How do I want to be remembered? I want to be remembered as the guy from Utica, New York, who not only showed the neighborhood, but the world that, like, no matter what resources you don't have, no matter what your situation is, if you work hard, if you stay focused, you can do it. As cliche as it sounds, like, I'm heavy on the work hard and stay focused. There's going to be a lot of things, even as simple as, I always say this because I feel like everyone can relate. Everyone from a neighborhood like mine. When them Jordans come out, listen, if you want to be a clothing brand and them Jordans come out, the Jordans shouldn't be on your feet. Your own clothing should be on your body. Invest that. It's little steps like consistently starving yourself of those type of things and investing in yourself consistently over years. That's what gets you there. It's not some special person. It's not one person that's picked out of the bunch. It's not none of that. It's the person that consistently works hard and focuses. So I would like that to be my impact. Like, damn, when I watched this journey, it made me feel like I could do it.
Great words.
Thank you.
Great words. Before we do get out of here, also plug your event that you got going on tonight, too.
All right, so tonight, Nomadic Voices, hosted at Handshake City, 6 to 9. Shout out to my guy Tabo, the founder. It's basically open mic. We're going to have poets, artists, brand owners promoting their brand, all types of stuff. It's a vibe. So once again, Handshake City, 6 to 9 tonight. Every Wednesday we do this. Follow Nomadic Voices on Instagram and Facebook to stay updated with all the details weekly.
Where's next Wednesday?
We haven't decided yet.
Okay. Keep me
So
posted.
literally at the end of tonight, we'll be putting that together.
Because I'd like to come out to one of those events.
Oh no, we would love to have you.
Yeah, for sure.
Even if we could set up like something out there, you know,
Yeah.
do a live episode from over there.
Yeah, for sure. Just go live off the phone if we got it, too.
Yeah,
I mean, it doesn't
absolutely.
matter. We have the power of technology.
Yeah,
as
no.
much as I bitch about it, it's still here, and I'm still on it all the time.
No, I've actually seen you do it a couple of times. Like certain events you'll be at.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, no, I'm with that.
Yeah.
100%.
I love what you're doing, Mel's.
Thank you, Z.
Plug your music, too. Like, can they find you on Spotify and all the streaming platforms?
Okay, so interestingly enough, I didn't even plug it this whole time. Wow, I have a new project out. It's called 2020. The cover art is actually a picture from the protest in Utica, the peaceful protest in Utica. So, yeah, that's the significant thing about that to me. I feel like it's about the whole year and everything that's been going on. The album cover is the peaceful protest, one of the only peaceful protests in the country.
Right.
From little old Utica. And, yeah, go check that out. It's on SoundCloud. My SoundCloud is soundcloud.com/Mels33. I'm on Instagram, flyboy.com, FLYBOIIDOTCOM. And then my clothing page on Instagram is Most Influential 315. And yeah, tap in with me, get in tune. We here.
Does it drive you crazy going through all those Instagram pages?
Oh, absolutely.
Right?
Like marketing?
I have like 4 of them. And it's just like, oh, wait, I posted the wrong stuff on this one.
Mm-hmm.
Does that happen to you
No,
as well?
all the time. Like, posting new content is the worst.
Right?
Like a new song or a new something. Like, oh, my God. Gotta post it everywhere.
Right? You can post it everywhere. But keep doing what you're doing, man. And you are an influence onto so many. And keep it going, man. Just keep going. Keep spreading that love. Keep shining that positivity. And good things are going to come to you, man. As you say every day, we coming.
We coming, man.
We're coming.
And one last shout out to you. One of the first people around here who actually gave me a platform and, you know, saw my potential and saw me as a good person to have to bring on. So thank you. Thank you and the Disruption Network family.
Thank you, man. I appreciate that. I appreciate that. Yeah, thanks, man. We just, you know, again, it's just shining the light on all the creative people in the 315.
Absolutely.
You know, and you're right at the top of that list. And there's so many great people doing so many cool things. And that's what the D is all about.
Absolutely.
Is displaying that to the world.
Absolutely.
And let them know that. I mean, Utica's a hip happening place. It really is. It's got this resurgence going on, too.
Absolutely.
With all the construction going on. There's
some energy coming.
I'm really looking forward to seeing what Utica is going to look like in 10 years from now.
No, absolutely. Just with the infrastructure alone, it's like, okay, I see where we're going. You know, I see where we're going. And even just small community steps, like there's a kid from the neighborhood that's now on the police force, Wesley Jackson, shout out to him. He's on the Utica police force. Even small steps in that direction are like huge. The peaceful protest we had, which was like the only one in the nation, besides a couple other ones. So, like, we have been making small strides towards greatness. So it's like, let's keep it up.
Yeah, right. It's funny to me, and it's so Utica that we're on this resurgence. There's like this renaissance going on, and then all of a sudden, bam, pandemic.
Right.
You know, we all get thrown down on a lockdown. And of course, it's such a Utica thing that would happen.
Right. That's like the rain on the picnic vibe. Like damn, it was nice all week. Then one day we had the picnic set up, it rained.
Yeah.
It's like the Utica curse.
It really is the jinx of the U. But, you know, we're going to come out of this, and everything's going to be fine. And,
absolutely.
And we'll be able to shine here in the 315.
Absolutely.
That's for sure. Yeah, much love to my sponsors, too. Can't forget my sponsors, EJA Moving Services, the professional movers. They make your move stress-free for you to move and relocate. If you want to move your studio, your gym equipment, your office, your house, whatever, hit them up today at 315-335-0516. Also, much love to Utica Coffee. I'm drinking Utica Coffee today, and wake the hell up. When they say wake the hell up, they really mean wake the hell up. This Utica buzz is something else, man. You can find them at wakethehellup.com. Also, much love to Saranac, and shout out to my friend Dave Longaretta, attorney Dave Longaretta. If you need legal advice, give him a call today at 315-735-6162. We did do local music on Monday, but we're carrying that over to tomorrow. We're going to do a local music Thursday with my co-host for Local Music Monday, Justin Smithson from the band Showtime, and joining us, Nash is going to join us, formerly of the Old Main, and he's out doing some singer-songwriting thing. So that's going to be a good time. Looking forward to chopping up. Justin and Nash have kind of like a little bromance going on, and that's why we moved it to Thursday so they can get their bromance, and there might be some gay sex. I don't know. Who knows? Now, I hope not, actually. I'm kidding. But no, that should be a good time tomorrow at 2:30. We stream live tomorrow at 2:30, so make sure you tune into that. Like, subscribe, follow all things Disruption Network on social media. And Mels, thanks again for hanging, man. This is a good conversation.
Thank you.
We'll see you tomorrow. Later.
Peace out.